Peace, family. We are back on another course 2, on developing equitable relationships and how to understand the people factor. I truly believe that one of the biggest things in life are relationships, how we treat people, the people that we're connected to. Everyone calls it our circles, all these different things. But before we can get anything in life, you have to first understand that relationships are the breadcrumbs to your destiny, or relationships can be the breadcrumbs to your demise. And what I mean by that is relationships help us, like the people that we are interconnected to, help us get to that place of our goal. I truly believe that. They connect with us through our journey. We share ideologies, we share information, we share resources, and they help us get to the place where we are growing together towards what I call common goals. Or on the other hand, let me write this in a different color, you have people at times that maybe have your best interests or maybe don't have your best interests or maybe do not have your best interests, and they are wanting to get everything from you, and eventually this leads you to coming down on their level, and it's taking you further and further and further away from your goal, from your vision, from the very thing that you're planning to do, from the very thing that you were born to do, from the very thing that you were really just, I guess, envision doing in your life. And one of the biggest things that we have to first understand in relationships is you have to create a win-win scenario. It has to be mutually beneficial. And I have an acronym that I want to be able to share with you guys. The I, the N, the W, the I, and the N. It is so important for us to first understand not who do we need, but what do I need? Good friend of mine, he always taught me in terms of like networking with people. I used to be like a massive expert networker. I used to go to events, get all these business cards, send all those emails, and then connect with all these different people. And then I started to feel like it got to the point where it was soaking me up, draining me to the point where my goal was there, and every connection, every person, I would get like further and further away from my dream, instead of me just staying focused, staying committed on what that dream was, what I wanted to be in my life, and who I needed had what I need, right? So you have to first assess, what do I need? What is the type of thing? What is the type of person? Not what is the type of person. What is the skill set? What is the value? What is that very thing that you need in your life? If you feel as if you are the type of person that is shy, and it's like, I need someone to really just help me get it out of my shell, maybe somebody that's good in public speaking. Or in your business, hey, I need a videographer. When you go out, when you're interested in connecting and different people connecting with different people at different types of events or venues, you need to focus on this question. Hey, what do I need? Because I feel like a lot of times we get into situations and we don't understand the investment versus the expense. We get into situations that don't benefit us because all of investment is something that's going to give you a positive return back. Now, you can invest in somewhere and it doesn't give you a return back, but that really, in my mind, I look at that as really an expense. But investment is you're investing time, you're investing energy, you're investing love, you're investing maybe even money into someone, and you're getting what we call an ROI, or a return on an investment. And an expense is something that you're spending on. Let's say you go to the store and you spend money and you spend time and you spend energy, you get those sneakers, you get that makeup, you get that car, or whatever the case may be. You have to ask yourself, what is this going to give me in terms of a return? And we'll talk about investments and returns and all this different stuff later. But in terms of relationships, you have to understand that you have to get people in your life that is an investment, or it's going to end up serving as an expense in your life. The next thing that I feel like is so important as a part of this win-win scenario is, what are your non-negotiables? these are really the things that I ain't having it, right? Like, it's kind of the boundaries that I'm not going to come over. It's that line that stands right here. I'm not going to cross this line. You're not going to cross this line. In any interaction, any relationship that is developed as a part of you and that other person, you and the other party, whether it's business, intimate, or personal relationship by any means, there needs to be some non-negotiables. Another word for this that's synonymous, your standards, expectations, or what I like to call your just like I said, your boundaries. I think it's so important to set boundaries. You have to get to the place that what are you going to say no to? What are you not going to accept? My tip, my skill, my strategy is write it down on a sheet of paper. Get a sheet of paper, and it's kind of like, hey, my non-negotiables are, this is all of them. So now when you're interacting with people, now when you're having these interactions, these conversations, you're building these relationships, you already know in the back of your head, what are you not standing for? What are you not going to do? Because I do believe if you don't stand for anything is the quote, that you fall for anything, right? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So you have to be able to have those non-negotiables that you live by, you stick by, and standards that you just won't give up in, right? You have to create those standards. So next thing, what's in it for me? Like, what is the benefit for me being in this relationship? What is the value that I'm going to gain? What is the thing that how am I going to become better? How am I going to get to my goal? And I know this comes off as very selfish, but if you're talking about what do I need and what is the overall investment, like what is the investment here between the both of us, the mutual benefit between the both of us? What is my return on investment? Then it's like the non-negotiables. What are the things that I'm just not standing for? Then what's in it for me? Why would I want to spend my time, energy, love, money, all these different things that now step into your life? What are you bringing to the table? This is another thing. What is the other person? What are they bringing? What are they bringing to the table? Had a interesting conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and I told her that, you know, I have a lot to bring to the table. I'm a 4-time, or getting ready to be a 5-time author. I'm a great father. I'm a great businessman, a community leader. I'm a man of faith, and all these different things. I'm just a good person, trying to stay humble here, but I want to put this into perspective. I'm bringing all these different things to the table as a CEO, and that I can bring forward in terms of knowledge, in terms of vision, in terms of love, all these different things. So sometimes we don't need someone else to bring food to the table because there's enough food already on the plate. Sometimes we need people to just keep that table intact. Sometimes you need someone in your life not to bring things to the table, but to provide you with that stability, that provision, that protection, all those different things in your life. So you have to ask yourself, in terms of this partnership and this relationship, is my table full? If it's not, how can I understand what I need so I can fill up the table? And if that's not, then what if the table is full, then what are some of the things that they can provide me that I do need? The last thing is, in terms of the I, is what is the intention? What is the intention? Now, I think this is so big, and these are conversations that need to be had at the beginning of any relationship. What are your intentions? What are my intentions? What are my expectations? What are my boundaries? All these different things. What are those non-negotiables? Why are you here at the end of the day? Like, why are we doing this? What is the intention? Where do we hope to go? Look at this as also the objective. Now, I'm not saying you want to base everything off of, hey, this is where we're going and we got to do all these things. It has to still be kind of organic in a sense. And you want to build an organic relationship, just a free-feeling relationship, a free, loving, and all those different things relationship. But you have to set the foundation of what is the intention here to create a win-win for both sides, because I do believe that there is no I in team. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a woman, a man, it doesn't matter what type of relationship that you're going to get in or what type of relationship you're trying to build. all relationships, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a partnership, whether it's a business relationship, you have to understand that there's no I in team, people. Now, I know on the other side, you're saying, hey, there's an I in win, but what I'm thinking for you, what I want you to understand is that this is a win-win scenario. It's not just a you win and the other person loses. And that's what I think a lot of times we get so selfish in what we want that we don't really think about the other person. And we're going to talk about that a little bit further. So the second step that I think is important is listening effectively. Listening effectively. Effectively. There's like three things that I think that I try to still use in my life that I've learned over the years. I call it the three no J's, right? The three no J's when you're listening effectively, the three things that are all J's that you can remember that you need to write down that you should never do in a relationship or never do in terms of communication or conversation between people. And the first J is no judging. So many times we judge people, we're listening to respond. Have you ever dealt with a person like that? It's like you're trying to tell them a story or really get something off your chest or be vulnerable or be emotional or just get them to listen, and they're so quick to, oh, what about this? Or I think you should do this, or no, that sounds crazy. They're judging. Those people are judging. They're judging you. And they're judging you because they're trying to figure out in their mind that this doesn't sound right. I need to provide them with a solution. I don't need you to be solution-oriented, people. I need you to learn how to listen effectively and listen to understand and not respond. Truly understand all of the different things that they're saying. Truly understand and listen to the vulnerabilities that they're sharing, the emotion that they're trying to create between you and the other person. And the second thing is that I think is so important is no justifying. Stop trying to justify your point. I think this is one of my biggest pet peeves when you're trying to have a conversation with someone and they make it all about them. It's kind of like you're having a conversation and then it's like, well, I did this because you, or I did this because this is just the type of person that I am. Stop. Stop right there. It is not about you. It's about listening. Remember, listening effectively to the other person. It's not about justifying your point or trying to make it about you or trying to do all of these different things. It's really about you listening, hearing their point to understand, not trying to create a solution, not trying to make you look better or not trying to be about you, but it's really focusing on being about the other person. And that is the second point of really being able to develop a powerful relationship. Number three is no jumping in. Now, I am not an expert in the no jumping in one because I don't know, I feel like I get so excited sometimes when people are talking about things that motivate me, that things that I just love to hear about, and then I'm kind of like, oh, what about this? Or, oh, that sounds great, have you thought about this? Or all these different things. And sometimes it gets to the point where they're just like, dude, just let me finish the story. Or this has happened to me in personal relationships as well. I feel like a lot of times when we're having those heated conversations, those crucial conversations wherein the emotions may be high, the stakes may be high, and we may have different viewpoints. I feel like a lot of times we're trying to jump in to tell our point or say our side of the story, whatever the case may be, instead of truly listening, maybe even taking it or maybe even holding yourself accountable for the part that you played in the misunderstanding or miscommunication, and then moving on to the next point. No jumping in is very important, and it's a very great way of listening. So no judging. Stop being solution oriented and just listen to understand, listen to not respond. Just hear that person out. Understand it, then seek to be understood. Understand it, then seek to be understood. The second one is no justifying. Stop making it about you. It's not about you. It's not about you right now when you're listening. It's about the other person sharing their piece of the story, and then stop jumping in. The next thing in terms of building developing equitable, I'm gonna put this here, relationships is, I believe, effectively communicating. Now, communication is, I believe one of the most challenging things to do in life, because there's so many, I feel like we don't, in schools, we're not teaching children, I was not taught to communicate a certain way. I've learned a lot through business, through relationships, through failed business deals, through failed relationships, and now successful business deals and successful relationships and mentors and coaches and all these different things, how to properly communicate. But two things that work very well for me is being real and being an echo. And I want to talk about being an echo first, because it's something that has really worked for me in terms of building relationships, because it creates a bond between the person that I'm talking to and then also myself. When people talk and they're trying to explain and I'm listening effectively and I'm really hearing them out, one thing that I do in terms of the communication, in terms of the conversation, is repeat back what they're saying to me. Like, so what I'm hearing is that you want to do A, B, and C? Or is it that you want to do D, E, and F? And then what you're doing is really showing the person that you are listening, that you did hear them, but you just need a further clarification on what it is that they're saying, so that you can comprehend and fully understand what it is that they're saying before I give my response. So I think that has been very beneficial for me, and it creates like a really great bond. The response that I've gotten is very great from that. And the second thing is just be real. Do not be plastic. Do not be plastic. Do not be pretender or phony or anything of that. Just be a person. Be a person. Be you. Be real, be honest, be fully transparent. I'm a firm believer that honesty is the best policy, and you should always be honest with the people, be a person of integrity, because I believe that one of the biggest things that makes life a lot more stressful is when you have to remember what you said because you lied. I remember growing up, and I used to tell little fibs to my parents on things that I did the weekend before, and then throughout the week they kind of try to bring it back up in conversation, because parents are very strategic about that. And I would try to remember the things that I told them so the stories can align. It was so stressful. What I want you to do, and what I would recommend, is just be honest. Honesty is still, even of this age, even of this generation, honesty is still the best policy. And I want you to really get to the place of integrity, where you are getting to a place really where you can be just 100% you, 100% safe and comfortable within the environments that you're setting and building those equitable relationships. I think number 4, what are we on? Number 4? The fourth point I want to say is set and keep boundaries. Now, this is the biggest one for me. I think that I truly believe that communication is huge, but boundaries is even bigger, in my opinion. You have to learn 2 words: how to say no. How to say no. Every time that you say yes to everything, you say no to you. Every time that you say yes to me, you're gonna have to learn how to say no to everything else. Just because you don't want to hurt your friend's feelings, or you don't want to make them feel bad or anything like that, you have to get to the point of saying no and having your peace, having that happiness within yourself. I truly believe that happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice. And you have to learn how to say no, because that protects you from anything that doesn't align with creating this win-win scenario for yourself in your life. So saying no. Boundaries, all this means is, what am I going to accept and what am I not going to accept? I believe that in relationships, as a part of the intention, as a part of setting the boundaries, as we talked about, as a part of the win-win scenario, it's very important for you to say, hey, these are the things that work for me. These are the things that do not work for me. And even in a corporate relationship, in a business relationship, hey, understand that you said that the way that you said it, but what works for me is if you could say it in this way, because I felt offended the way that you said it. So, I'm not mad. I'm not, mad at you. I'm just a little set back from the way that you delivered it. And if moving forward in terms of this relationship, could you be more mindful of how you're saying things or how you're communicating, so that I can receive it and we can have a mutually beneficial or equitable relationship between us? I believe if you communicate it in that way and say, oh, I don't like how you said it, or any of these things, it would be a completely different response. So what I want you to understand how to do is how to have those crucial conversations, but stand strong within your boundaries as well. And I think that's so important. The next point, it took me years to develop, to be honest. It took me years to develop because I wasn't really tapped in to the inner me, right? So I don't know your faith, and regardless of who you pray to or if you pray or not, developing empathy is very critical because you take other people's point of view and their struggle and their vulnerabilities and their emotions and their circumstances, and you learn how to feel for it. I think a lot of times before, as I matured and as I grew, I didn't really understand where people were coming from, or I didn't understand my role in making people feel the way that they felt, or I couldn't really feel that person. I was like, suck it up, or, just be grateful, or all of these different things. But people truly do deal with certain things. And I feel like developing empathy for people is one of the number one, in my opinion, ways to developing equitable relationships and positive relationships between people. Feeling their circumstance, understanding their point of view, and really being able to direct them and guide them in a way that, based upon what you guys feel together, in a way that's going to help them get through maybe that tough time, or maybe get them to a place where they're feeling better, or or they may be feeling great, and then you guys can feel great together. It's kind of that creating that energy of synergy between the two of you. And I think the next point, and the last point, is you have to be willing, this is point 6, to give and also accept feedback. One of the biggest pet peeves, another pet peeves of myself as a business coach, as a CEO, as a mentor, but also a mentee, as a father, is people that are not coachable, people that are not humble, the know-it-alls, as we call them, because they want to give feedback, they want to give their criticisms or their complaints or their challenges, but they're not willing to accept feedback. And you do not need to be that person in a relationship that can give it but can't, or that can dish it out but can't take it. I used to be that person always until my dad checked me early on in life, and what he told me is that, if you can dish it out, you better be ready to take it. And I feel like if you can dish it out, if you can give feedback, then you need to train yourself on how to be humble to be able to receive the feedback as well, and put that into your life, or make that as a developmental process to be able to making you better in the future. Just because you're getting feedback doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It just means that you can develop and do something differently moving forward. It's just helping you with the process of development. Now, these are the 6 stages that I believe that are very important in developing equitable relationships. Definitely use these 6 stages, these 6 steps, and be more mindful as you're listening, as you're communicating, as you're setting those boundaries, of putting the other person first, and really being able to develop a relationship based upon what that other person needs, and not just you. And what do I need? And what does the other person need? What can I do to get that other person to help them becoming successful? And how can we both benefit each other in the future? I am Kyle King. I'm your course instructor for Classroom to Boardroom, and I will see you next lesson.